for everyone out there, like, you started at a time where there was barely anything. So I wanted to talk about when you were starting out, how did you have the courage or the drive to keep going when you didn't really have any peers? And how did you stay focused when all the other content was like, like stuff from the Food Network as a clip on YouTube? You know what I mean? Like, I guess, what were your thoughts on all that?
It was really hard. I have a video coming out as kind of a thank you 10,000 subscribers video, which also probably is out by the time this podcast airs. But I do talk about that a little bit because nobody directly messaged me and said, Justin, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you producing video content? But it had to have happened where there was a little bit of behind the back chatter about Justin's making these YouTube videos for the 120 people that are subscribed to him on this platform. And I don't even have anything to say as far as like, I told you so. Like, I understand why people think in that way. Because it was really weird for me to be doing stuff like that in, I don't know, 2015, 2016, whenever my first couple of videos came out. And I just had this intense, and I think I mentioned this on the last podcast, I just had this intense in my belly desire to make it so that I wasn't another chef who was complaining about there's no good cooks these days and good help is hard to find. And I didn't want to be a hypocrite. I didn't want to not put content out into the world that also helped the industry. And so if I had to distill it down into one thing, that is what kept me going, is I knew that my intent was good and my head was screwed on straight and I was doing something that was helpful. I wasn't doing it for followers. I wasn't doing it to make money. I was genuinely doing it because I wanted to help people. And that more or less kept me more focused than anything else. But the same token, I'm just an intense believer that if you want to do something different, you should open your mind up to other industries and other facets of creatives. So when I say that, I'm talking about, like, I watched travel YouTubers, and I don't know if you know this, but there's this growing scene of like programmers and coders that vlog their life. And it's just like watching people like that who are like documenting their journey as, something that's in an industry completely different to ours, but they're effectively doing the same thing, which is like putting content out to share what their experience is like and offer some advice, not as gospel, but as, this is what my experience has been and this is what's helped me. Hopefully it helps you kind of content. I just think that there's so much there. And I think that if anybody has something that they want to do that is, kind of holding them back as far as like, well, what are people going to think? I don't think that it's not productive. What is the quote? The quote is it's something from Tim Ferriss's show, and might not be Tim himself. It might be somebody else, but it's talking about it's time to write the book when it's more painful to not write the book. Does that resonate in any way? Where it's like it keeps you up at night. Like every single time you see a book on the shelf, you're like, God damn it, I should be writing my book. Or someone asks you what you're up to or what you're passionate about, or you're listening to a podcast like this and you know exactly what that idea is in your head. That's the time. Like that's the only time, because you if you don't scratch that itch, it's going to nag at you forever, or it's going to manifest as regret later on in your life. And so if I could offer anything practical, the first 4 videos on my channel are unpublished because I just had to get them out of my head. I just had to test this format of making videos, talking to a camera, sharing my thoughts on a topic, and I never published them. And not a lot of people know that because I was just so bad on camera and it was so cringy and so unstructured. And so I don't think that everything that you have to create has to get shared with the world. I think sometimes just getting it off your chest and creating it can sometimes be enough. And sometimes you'll see it and you'll be like, yeah, that was kind of stupid. And then you'll just move on, and that will be kind of the end of it. But I think until you do that, if it's nagging at you that hard, whether it's a dish you want to create or someone you want to interview or, that girl or guy that you want to ask out, I think that it's all the same feeling. I think that how you use to kind of deploy that is the important point of it all. But I think, just seeing other people who just really didn't care. I really like MKBHD on YouTube, the guy who does all the tech review channels, because his journey has just been fascinating to watch, where he was shoot stuff in his like childhood bedroom on a webcam, talking about a new computer graphics card or a phone, and then all of a sudden he's shooting shows with YouTube. He's going sneaker shopping with Complex. He's shooting on Red cameras in 8K and getting flown all over the world to drive in high-end electric cars. Like, he's made it for himself. And if anybody along his journey would have told him, man, I think that's kind of stupid that you make videos about cell phones, and he would have listened to them and said, yeah, you're right, this is kind of stupid, then he wouldn't be where he is today. And I just think that if anybody has it in their soul to kind of drive forward an idea or express themselves in a certain way, and if it's not going to hurt anyone, I don't really think you have any benefit to listening to somebody else's opinion on what you're trying to create. So I guess that's my piece on it. I'm thankful that all the if there was any criticism and maybe it's all in my head and no one really gave a fuck what I was doing, and everybody just thought it was silly that I was creating YouTube videos. But had someone come to me and said, I think that what you're creating is kind of stupid, I had this hardcore reason why. Like, yeah, you might think the video sucks or my audio quality is really bad, but in my heart of hearts, I really just want to help the industry. And so, yes, I am going to upload next week, even though you just told me that this video idea was stupid. I saw value there. And so if you can find value in it that's deeper than money or followers, or, you know what I mean? And that's another conversation that we can have later, because I know we're trying to wrap up here, is the difference between discouraging people from going for followers and encouraging people to build a community. I think they're two very different things, right? So if you're chasing followers just for numbers, that's one thing. But at the same time, you can't have a community without numbers. Do you know what I mean? It can be a community, like Ray, you and I can be the Line Cook Thoughts community. But if that's the case, it's just going to be these conversations over and over again. You and I just riffing on whatever is top of mind for us. But the reason that the Line Cook Thoughts community is what it is because it's more than just you, And so I think that we don't have to stigmatize numbers as bad as we do. Like, everyone's like, oh, well, so-and-so has 30,000 followers. Like, it must just be all, like just bots or people that don't care. But then the opposite is more often true than that. The people who have the really engaged audience of 10,000, 50,000, 300,000 people, those are the people that make waves and actually get stuff done. And so I don't know. Yeah. That's just a random thought, but I don't know. I hope that helps anybody who's, feeling in a rut or feeling like, well, I really want to do this thing, but I'm not sure. Don't live with that regret. It's way better to do it now than wait on it.